Peace family, it's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Email is hoodmystic@gmail.com. Just with another daily energy reading for you, for everyone. The title of this video is called Introvert Party, and the concept is really developing, a way of changing your reality through the inside and a way of connecting through people, through connecting to yourself. And I feel as though a lot of people feel as though by connecting to others directly, like I want to kick it with you, I want to deal with you, is how we connecting to people. But really, it's really wanting to connect to yourself, and then from there knowing what you want. If you don't know what you want from within, it's hard to really tell what you want from the external. And so, peace to everybody this morning. Glad y'all up with me. Peace to everybody that watches video throughout the day. I appreciate everyone's support, like, deeply. So astrologically, it's very much a vibe. You understand, like, there is a trine, there's a T-square, like, within your challenges is actually something that is lifting you and taking you to that next level. If you're afraid of those challenges, if you're afraid of crossing over, if you're afraid of whatever, if you don't know that you connected, if you don't know that you have protection and order in your life, then you deal with those particular consequences. So it's very important to know who got your back, and that's like spiritually or friendship wise, or just being around people that really have your best interest at heart. And how do you know if people got your best interest at heart? You got to have your best interest at heart first and foremost. What we're going to talk about is Mercury and Jupiter in the lower left corner, conjunct, as Mercury is in Sagittarius, like on the cusp of Sagittarius and Scorpio, and Jupiter is about to get up into that thing. What is this really symbolizing? Because if you don't know, Mercury is planning to go retrograde. And as of now, we're dealing with a particular Mercury retrograde shadow. So all of this pertains to something that we can begin to work on now. You know how it should be with the community, where it's like everybody feeling the same thing. And it's like, well, what could have we done to prevent that? What could we done to get into a different vibe? So, we all not scratching our heads collectively. The reality is Mercury conjunct Jupiter in conjunct Uranus is pretty much of you having to change your narrative. We talked about this yesterday. And now is the time. Like, it's been build up, it's been lead up, but the narrative that you hold, you better make sure it's the narrative that you want to live out. We live in an electromagnetic world where it's a lot of electricity and a lot of magnetism. That's basically what the world boils down to. Electricity and magnetism, meaning that the neurons that fire in your brain and your nerves get you up and moving about. The magnetism is the particular reality that you choosing to live in. This is all we dealing with. We're all dealing with a magical world. If you choose to want to live in a magical world, like, it's your choice. Having a particular imagination. And like I said, each day I planned on challenge you. Today the challenge is, if we could imagine any negative thing that goes on in our lives, like, any type of pain, any type of turmoil, that's imagined. We're imagining that. Like, it's not necessarily real, but even if it feels real, even if it brings on a tremendous amount of physical pain, the reality is that pain never lasts forever. So where could we begin to imagine our lives being pain-free, or being in a space where these things that are triggering us, like, why are we imagining them to be that way? Why can't we start to imagine different things in our lives? Like, really, what is the narrative? Where are you going with this thing? Like, what is your narrative? Don't say, you know, I ain't gonna never be shit, or I ain't gonna never find a man, or the major thing is, oh, I want some money. Oh, I want a relationship. That's a narrative. That's a narrative that you have to live up to. If you want something, you have to stay in that space of wanting. You're not coming up with no action plan. You're not telling me what you're about to do to get it. You just telling me that you want it. Well, that's an energy, that's a vibration that you will keep. Want. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. That's an energy. And that's a narrative that you gotta really, like, we all have it in somewhere in our lives where we want something. We gotta be very mindful of the things that we want. If we can't have them, if we can't actually put in an action plan, if we can't actually do some shit to get it, then we might as well not want it, because that's a fantasy. If y'all listen to the Science of Getting Rich yesterday, 2-hour video on YouTube, really nothing. He was saying how once you have the thoughts of being rich, now you have to have action behind it. You can't just be sitting about talking about, oh, I just wish to be rich. Oh, I just want to be rich. What action work are you putting behind it? As we begin to, you know, talk about another transit, Pluto, excuse me, at 18 degrees Capricorn, sextile. The key word in here is sextile and not sex. Sextile. 60 degrees away, Neptune in Pisces. Major transit. It's not fully developed yet, but it's coming into full alignment. It's going to take it a while, but let's talk about it anyways. Because if Pluto's is at 18 degrees Capricorn, what does that mean for the individual versus what it means for the society? The reality is that all institutions, all governments, all states, all groups of people are simply people. And what binds them is a spiritual purpose. There is no corporation with monkeys, gods, you know, spiritual beings. It's just a corporation of human beings with like minds, willing to work towards something together. What's scary to me is that everybody tries to do it alone, like they have to. That's scary to me, because I know that the world don't operate like that on no level. That's like some crazy shit. Like, especially if you really want to be successful, like you really want to be rich, then you're going to have to incorporate people at some level. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people. Maybe even more, but the reality is that all of it is about people. And it ain't about like, oh, let's get together because we cool, because we like each other. No, we got to be writing some shit down on paper. We gotta, you know, it's hella team apps that you can use for your team. Y'all all have tasks. It could be starting an LLC. Like, okay, you got this part of it. You know, research. Like, it's hella apps, like, you know, but we talking about the internet and social media and shit. So everything is about you by yourself. Everything is propagated to you living your best life by yourself. All these niggas on YouTube, all these niggas on Facebook, they market to you to say they know for a fact that you ain't doing shit because you ain't working with nobody. So let's just market to the lonely American or the lonely person that's just trying to do everything by itself. Uranus trine Saturn, really, as it shifts, like Uranus is on the cusp as well. A lot of energy is on the cusp. A lot of energy is in retrograde. A lot of energy is about to go direct. More energy is going to go retrograde. So the changes that need to come are real changes. Peace. And if you think that you're just going to do it by yourself, you think that you're going to do it within your ego, good luck, man. Have fun. But the reality is that the groups that need to come together, these are the things that need to bring change. Like your tribe. And you don't find your tribe by looking for your tribe, though. That's the thing. That's the catch. Becoming an introvert, really understanding you as a person, is really going to take you to the next level. And once you understand you as a person, then you'll easily connect with people. If you not freely and able to connect with people, you got more healing to do, and that's okay. But heal first and then connect. Know what you bringing to the table. Know that you ready to show up. The card of the day is the Ace of Swords. Anytime I pull the Ace of Swords, actually the Ace of Swords was one of the first cards that I ever kind of blogged about on my website. One of those cards where I was just I was gonna do something different. I was gonna start a blog, hoodmystic.com, and I was just gonna study, and I was just gonna like post what I study, and I was just gonna grow it, you know. That was my Ace of Swords moment. So whatever Ace of Swords you have, and trust me, it wasn't never easy building this thing up to get it to where I was like, you know, I don't know, it was just difficult building a website, building a brand, all of that stuff. It was like days after days, but now it's like people look at me like, oh, this shit came after night, like, or whatever. No, it started a long time ago when I dealt with the Ace of Swords and I created my narrative. I changed my narrative to being whatever I was being, to being something different. And this is something that I have to be mindful of even today. Not to get caught up in narratives where I don't like the outcome. Holistic, peace. Holisticness is, you know, the Six of Swords is the card of science, whereas Mercury in Aquarius and understanding change. Like, understanding change and being the one, like this card reminds me of those dudes in 9/11 where they bought a whole bunch of life insurance policies and things of that nature. I don't ever think it's like 9/11, but it's just these people that buy like stocks and insurance policies, and they know for a fact that they're gonna go down, but human beings just be so afraid of shit. So these people make billions of dollars just off of people's fear, like betting on that, like, you'll die one day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But all of that is doing your proper research and doing the things that is going to lead to a sustainable, healthy life, as opposed to a life where you just don't know. Like, to know is to learn. Like, knowing yourself, that's the real science, because the world constantly changes. You understanding your being is really going to be key moving forward. And the strife in the Five of Wands is really just all of the energy that might try to stop you from gaining yourself, try to stop you from getting with your proper team. And that's just in your mind. Like, I ain't gonna never find nobody that's gonna love me. I ain't gonna never, you know, I'm gonna just always just work at this job. I'm gonna just be this person, you know, woe is me. But the reality is we got to move towards change. And moving towards change is to peer into the negativity, peer into the positivity, just deal with the polar opposites. And if we really want to deal with the polar opposites, we can really move into that change. We can really change our relationships, change our lives. So say, for instance, I'm an introvert. Change for me is to be more extroverted. Now, if I'm an extroverted, I'm always at the club, I'm always popping bottles, I'm always going out. Change for me is to be introverted. So where I'm at is to be extroverted after dealing with my introversion, or even understanding it. And so if I find myself in a difficult space, you find yourself in a difficult space, always remember, you the person that got you there. 8 of Cups. You the person that got you there, and you also the person that can get you out. Now, I was talking to a young lady on the comments, I don't know, she stopped talking back. But she was like, didn't you just say you got a 9 to 5 and blah blah blah, and what you know about getting rich if you working and da 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 da. Um, that's a good point, but you know, I didn't necessarily get the job because I needed the job. I got the job because I wanted the job. I was excited about it because it was an opportunity to learn. And I was like, I'm not really trying to be at nobody's facility for 40 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, you can work from remote. You can work from home. Like, oh, cool. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's tech. So it's like people call you for problems. It ain't like I gotta sit there and be selling shit or whatever. It's just like, if you need me, call me. But other than that, I'm gonna be doing me. So that would just seem like a perfect situation. And I'm all for passive income. I'm all for having multiple streams of income. I'm all for all types of things. Like, man, I've been doing all types of shit for years now to get money. So just really understanding your inner wealth, your inner talent, like all types of shit that you could do within yourself. And understanding that that wealth come from within you. If you waiting for somebody to give you a check, you waiting for somebody to do something for you, like that's not a level of wealth. Like once you get a big check, that's not what we mean by wealth. Wealth is really cultivating an idea within yourself to know that you is somebody. The book of the day is from my mans in them, John Gordon. Now, I go from all over spectrums and types of like trains of thoughts and things of that nature. This is from a Christian author. And this is from the realm of sports. So we got sports and Christianity. But when I listen to this dude, he be making some good ass points though. You know what I'm saying? Like when I hear him talk, like he just makes good ass points. And so this is his latest book. They say this is his latest and greatest book. This is like his magnum opus, and it's called The Power of a Positive Team. And it's all about positive leadership and how to really lead people, and how like in your groups it be like little negative shit and you gotta kick that shit out of the group. Like that shit can't survive within the group, and where you might not be in the space of forming a group, but this book is really one of them books where it's like it make you sit and think to the level where it's like, I really can do this, or we really can do this, based upon like at least that's how I feel reading the book, listening to dude. It's just like, shit, we could really do something together. You know what I'm saying? And if we gonna do it together, we gotta have some skills, we gotta have some abilities, we gotta have some traits. And I'm not talking about like everybody work with me. I'm talking about in your personal life and you and the different things that you trying to grow, like your groups of friends and things of that nature. It be a little snake in the grass and shit. You gotta point that shit out. Motherfuckers acting funny. Like, why you acting funny, bro? Like, we all sitting here trying to do something and you got this little attitude. Like, start pulling snakes up out the grass. Like, for real, if you want to have a positive team. And if people feel a certain type of way about you calling them out on their negativity, or they calling you out on your negativity, whatever the case may be, like, understand that we a team, we gotta grow together. So this shit ain't gonna be able for us. Like, if you acting like this, we not gonna be able to grow. We not gonna be able to make the impact. So it's a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking like, okay, I used to think that building myself up, I was going to build myself up and I was going to do this shit by myself. But now I realize that that can never be the reality. You have to have a team. And so from there, like, I don't get into Halloween. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit about Halloween. I talked about Ancestral Fortnite at the beginning of October. That was my Halloween. Halloween to me is a bunch of little kids dressing up in costumes, which is cool. But if I saw my mom and dad dressing up in costumes as a little kid, I would have lost all respect for their ass. Like, what the fuck is you doing? Like, if y'all don't take me trick or treating to get this candy, y'all wasting time getting dressed. Like, it ain't about y'all. It's about me. But that's just how I feel. Shit. Hoodmystic.com is the website. Hoodmystic@gmail.com is the email. Any I'm just playing though. Like, I'm just playing. I just really don't celebrate no holidays at all. Like, I don't give a fuck about no holidays ever. Ever. Not one. I get kind of offended and mad. That's some more healing that I have to work on, for whatever reason. But generally, let's work with the ancestors every day. Let's not work with the ancestors because niggas is throwing on masks and shit like that. Let's like, cause niggas be wearing masks all year long. So I don't know. This world is confusing. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But today, the title of this video is the Introvert Party. Just learning how to develop your inner skills and abilities and then showing up in the group. Like, how can we show up in our groups? And if we gonna sit and point fingers at, you know, our friends and things of that nature or what they ain't doing, what is it about? Yeah, that veil was lifted at the beginning of October when everybody was going crazy and nobody knew what was going on. Those were the ancestors. We talked about that in full detail. But as opposed to now in Halloween, why would the veil be opening during Halloween, October 31st, at the same time coinciding with people making millions and billions of dollars at the spirit Halloween stores, candy sellers, costume sellers, etc.? People throwing parties, everybody getting drunk. Like, what does that have to do with the veil? It's just, Halloween is just a time for people to make money. And as far as ancestors and the veil being thin, and we talked about that in full detail. Just look at my ancestral Fortnite video. Yeah. But, you know, the ancestors, they always with you. You know, the veils be opening, the portals be opening, but you got to stay up on them. They ain't going to be because it's a national holiday. Up, the ancestors coming. Up, the portals is coming. But, yeah. That's just my personal opinion. But, you know, by all means, if Halloween brings out your ancestors and things of that nature, so be it. You know, I'm not here to, I just study things from a different, yeah, holidays are money based. That's like, it's straight commercialization. That's how I feel. But indeed, Halloween is good to access the underworld if that's what you feel. You know, it's also a way to access, you know, some money too. You want to set up a little spirit store. But like that. Peace to the family though. Enjoyed this live. Very like difficult conversations when you talking about connecting with people, right? And I'm talking like we all on the internet, so we all got problems with connecting to people. We all got levels of antisocial, like, or even if we extroverted, like finding a purpose for our friends and our lifestyle. Like, we have to figure it out, and that's a difficult conversation. It ain't going to be a situation where it's just a normal, simple solution to changing the world. Like, changing the world might require some effort, and it might require some foresight. Like, I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing this for my children. Like, that's a different vibe. You know what I'm saying? Where you start to think about the generations after you. Like, even John Gordon in his book, The Power of the Positive Team, he was saying, like, what is your legacy? Like, what would you want your legacy to be? His legacy was, he would just want people to see his children and be like, you know, your dad really helped me. Like, your dad really, you know what I'm saying? So when he said that, I was like, damn, that's some real ass shit. Cause like, what am I doing all of this for? Like, legit, I like, if y'all ever see my sons, like, I got 3 sons, y'all ever see my sons, I just really would like y'all to be like, damn, the Hood Mystic is your dad? Like, oh shit, like, he really helped me, da 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 da. Like, whatever. And that's what I like. Serving and like making sure that the people is good, kind of my thing. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't do it for no other reason that hopefully y'all can meet my kids in the future and tell them like, you know, your dad was a solid nigga, like your dad was a real one. You look just like your dad or something like that. But you know, that was a day, man. I hope y'all have a wonderful one. I'm gonna start mine. Peace to the family, peace to the tribe out there. Let's get it. hoodmystic@gmail.com. Make sure y'all comment on these videos, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace. Love y'all.